Retreat to the rendezvous points.
Come back here! Come back!
The MMORPG genre is in a slow but constant state of change. Year by year, it continues to evolve into something new whether we like it or not. With very few big MMORPG releases on the horizon, we are faced with the revelation that the mobile market is just this uncontested giant that dominates the cumulative total of both PC and console platforms in terms of sales. And beyond that, players. Naturally, games in their respective studios are adapting to current market. And what kind of MMO channel would we be if we didn't cover the good, the bad, and the ugly? One game in particular that has been birthed into the genre but has been adapted to the current market is TRAHA, a free-to-play faction v faction open-world MMORPG made by Moai Games. You can find this game available on PC, iOS, and Android devices. TRAHA originally launched as a South Korean exclusive mobile game back in 2019, published by Nexon, but since then they dropped onto the global market as a cross-platform game November 1st. When going through this transition to cross-platform, they decided to drop auto combat in favor of manual tab target combat style. I'm gonna be honest here, I'm not sure they should have removed auto combat, especially after watching people act like auto combat was still implemented. The boss mechanics and dodgings just weren't a thing people noticed, and that's normal MMORPG things. The core basis of this game is combat and the variety you'll find within the combat, so it makes sense they'd opt to make the combat be within your control. But let me preface this by stating that for a mobile game, it felt okay. It was probably one of the better feeling ones out there. Today, we will be taking a look at the PC iteration. TRAHA itself offers the standard Holy Trinity: tank, DPS, and healer. It doesn't matter which faction you select, the weapons and specializations are the same. Races don't change either, nor do the outfits, so just go whatever faction you want. One feature the game prides itself on is your ability to swap between weapons freely. This is not entirely accurate. Yes, you can use any weapon so long as you have it unlocked, have gotten an RNG drop on the weapon of choice, or crafted it and aren't in combat. For example, I went staff wielder at first and found I could do multiple build types to either DPS or healer. Randomly during the twice a week dungeon reset that drops weapons, I managed to get a great sword and shield. You can also obtain other weapons through the story or crafting if you so choose. Currently, after obtaining keys to unlock them from just main story questing, I've unlocked a grand total of 5 out of 7 weapons available to us. What I like is most weapons, but not all, have 2 different routes you can choose in the form of specs. This gives variety to your gameplay, and you can even mix and match the skills bound to that particular weapon to become a hybrid of healer and DPS, or DPS and defense. So if you enjoy experimenting with different builds, you're probably gonna like this. You'll also need to consider PvP builds, as this is a faction v faction. It wouldn't be such without open world PvP, arenas, battlegrounds, and conquests. The PvP within arenas, battlegrounds, and conquests are arguably balanced, as it adjusts combat power for conquest and tries to scale your combat power in arenas. Sometimes I felt like I still got melted, but that might just have to do with the fact I'm not very gifted with PvP prowess. But I still love trying and won't shy away from a fight. The open world PvP felt fun as well, but it is in no way close to being balanced. You'll still get the standard PvP gamers that have the high combat power camping lower characters near story NPCs, groups that move together and will jump you when you're just trying to be out there in the world mining. I'm just saying, I'm speaking from experience. But that's kind of the fun of it. I'd call upon my faction, they'd usually come and assist me in clearing out the riffraff giving me grief. There are some areas that are considered safe zones, and you can safely work together with the enemy to achieve greatness through story quests. The enemy faction isn't always bad to have around. As I was leveling, they introduced the concept of moonstones. A stone that, when covered in the blood of thine enemies, will produce a bloodstone that can be exchanged for outfits, which you seem to be able to get through the story or crafting as well, or, well, accessories that provide no added benefit other than looking cool. We all know fashion is in-game. The outfits are actually important as they give some stats and can be engraved with enhancements to make you more powerful. Enchanting, engraving, upgrading, and developing your core are integral to the gameplay and your combat power. The enchanting itself is RNG. Sometimes you'll get rare stats you really need, sometimes you'll get legendary stats you don't need, and sometimes you'll get stats that do nothing for you at all. Luckily, you can undo enchantments if you liked what you had before or keep rolling to see if you get something better. Granted, this does come at a cost to your currency. When upgrading your equipment, it is very easy to ensure 100% for low leveling upgrade, and you can guarantee you never fail. Your equipment can also maintain their upgrade status despite having, say, a common to a rare. One of the best ways to upgrade the tier of your gear is to run dungeons. The 3 dungeons for XP can be run once per day, the dungeons for trinkets and upgrading material can be run twice a day, and the 2 dungeons for more powerful weapons can be run once with a Monday and Friday reset. You'll also need to run dailies and side stories to obtain currency for gacha rolls, crafting material, and upgrading material. Yep, you heard me right, there is a gacha within this. Surprise! The gacha consists on rolling for familiars and can provide stat boost and be utilized in battle, including PvP. Pets, which give you a stat boost and boost for professions. Mounts, which provide you stat and mobility around the open world. And finally, spirits, that are basically cards that can give you stat and combat power boosts. All of these items can be upgraded to make you more powerful by either rolling duplicates or, like the mounts, giving them food. For the most part, it's pretty easy to get currency to do these rolls without spending money, but you can spend money and get the benefits from doing so. There are basically 3 battle passes within the game, one for Monster and Kingdom, one for Arena, and another for the Season Pass. I went ahead and purchased the $19.99 Season Pass to give me the extra advantage over others, and the free outfit skin, and that was well worth it, as I'm discovering everyone else thought that was a great idea too. A lot of people are gonna argue it's not that bad of pay to win and you can obtain the same things going free to play, but you are gonna have to work twice as hard to get the same advantage I have with my current combat power. The only place this is really going to matter terribly is open world PvP, and also the fact I'll have more time to grind out more things, as instead of levels, you unlock story and fights based on your combat power. If you're fine just playing for fun and like to keep it easy breezy and you're in no rush, you'll be fine. You'll still be able to compete fine with pay-to-win players in the arena, conquest, and battlegrounds with attempted balancing of combat power there. But if PvP is just not your thing and you're not much of a dungeon crazy person, there are more things to do in the game. There is a kingdom mode. You can go in and kill up to 50 monsters to obtain diamonds and kingdom currency to buy more upgrade materials or diamonds. World bosses will drop currency, crafting material, and moonstones, and I would also like to note that once PvP unlocks, you will have to more than likely fight for supremacy against the enemy faction to kill the world boss, so good luck. All these things are important to do for your overall growth, but perhaps one of the most important and impossible to ignore features are professions. The 4 professions are crafter, cook, miner, and archaeologist. When I was attempting to figure out my life within the game, I watched a guide video that said just pick 2 and go with it. This was false. You will need to begin leveling each one of them, as they will all play into one another. The higher I made it into my crafter to create trinkets and outfits for myself, the more I found I needed mining and archaeology, and then cooking. I needed to go and level each one just so I could create the higher tier items necessary to become stronger. Within crafting, it's basically a matching game that you'll need to do every single time. This is what you get when you remove auto features, okay? You're gonna have to do this. There is no auto gathering here. You'll be faced with a series of flowers and you'll need to find the matching 3. With cooking, you'll need to steadily maintain your pull on your line for fishing within the blue indication. When mining, you'll need to time your hits with the little random placed icon. And in archaeology, you'll need to play a memory game. You'll be flashed 3 different icons and have to decipher which of the 3 you just have witnessed prior. Honestly, it's a bit of a chore. You also have labor points that limits the amount of profession you can participate in each day. You can purchase more points, of course, to continue for that day if you so choose. Honestly, there is a lot to do in this game to keep you entertained. There is just an overwhelming slew of red buttons to push when you log in. With events, attendance rewards, and spins available, there is just plenty of things to click. Lots of activities to follow and do during hot times on the calendar. The combat, as I mentioned, isn't that bad for a mobile game gone cross-platform. Character customization is nice, but once you get out in the open world, you look like a filter on a middle-aged woman on Facebook trying to hide wrinkles, and I have everything on Ultra. There are also some localization issues, as it didn't even bother to change tap to click. It's also very hard to find folks that spoke English, but luckily this didn't affect me much, as language of gamers is roughly the same regardless of where you live. The reason for this is there are only 4 servers: America, Europe, Asia 1, and Asia 2. So do anticipate some lag depending on your location. I think overall it's just an okay cross-platform game that will probably sit well with some of you and turn off some of you, or a lot of you. Anyway, tell me what you guys think in the comments down below. This was MRSSSTIX, logging off for now. Bye!